Welcome to Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to New Mexicans by State Employees Credit Union, who have been proudly serving the families of New Mexico locally and abroad since 1958. State Employees Credit Union is ready to help you and your family with all your financial goals. And now, Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater.
We've been hearing this for years. We've been hearing that test scores in math and science among students in the United States are declining. At the same time, we're hearing from the National Science Foundation that there's an estimate that 80% of jobs in the next decade will require some form of science and math. So what do we do about this? Well, there is a plenty going on at UNM and CNM to make sure that we are finding students who want to study the science, math, engineering courses, and also how we're going to make sure that they're going to be able to graduate and get jobs in these fields. So stay with us as we talk about STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, the Cooperative Center, but also we're going to be discussing the STEM Gateway program and the STEM Up program. I'm sure you're just riveted as I am. It's true. They're going to find jobs for these students if they stay in these fields. So you stay with us as we come back and discuss UNM and CNM right after this. My guests are so excited to share about these programs. They're telling me all about it during the commercials. They're here right to tell you right now since we've had the commercial. I've got Tim Schroeder here. He's with the UNM STEM Cooperative Center. Thank you so much for being here, Tim.
Thank you for having us.
Also, Natalie Robbins and Bruner. She's the director of the STEM Gateway program.
Yes, hi.
Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dr. Carolina Aguirre. She is with the STEM Step Up program.
It's STEM Up.
STEM Up program.
Undergraduate pathways.
Mm-hmm. All of these shows, all these programs have to deal with science, technology, engineering, math. We talked with Tim outside kind of UNM, what's going on nationwide. We're going to talk with Natalie about, hey, what's going on inside the classroom at UNM. And then with Dr. Aguirre, we're going to discuss the STEM Up program, making sure our kids graduate both at CNM and UNM. But Carolina, or actually Natalie, you were saying during the commercial break something, so come on.
It's okay. No, I was just reinforcing the importance of the future job market when it relates to STEM and how our programs are really sort of trying to prepare students academically to be able to go into the job market and to be successful and competitive, not only with the new jobs that are coming out, but also internationally when it comes to our students being ready for the jobs that are going to be out there, as well as when it comes to New Mexico, the changing in demographics. I know our program focuses a lot on changing the techniques that are sort of implemented inside the classroom so that students are more prepared to have a deeper level of learning when it comes to that teaching. And of course, when it comes to STEM, there are always unique issues when it comes to the scaffolding of knowledge, the need to sort of master those beginning courses before you can move on, and a required sequence of courses that may not necessarily occur in other fields, but when it comes to instruction inside the classroom and at UNM, that's a big focus of ours.
And you're doing this big focus because you want these kids to be successful. And you're finding if we don't have the success, this collaboration, they're maybe not going to be successful.
Right, and not that they won't be successful, but we want to set them up with the probability of chances of where the jobs are going to be in the future by having them being able to, when they come in wanting to have a STEM degree, having the resources available to achieve their dreams and to go into the market that they really want to, as opposed to feeling discouraged or not prepared to do what they really would like to do.
And who would like to share, where are those jobs in the future? Let's start with that before we get people excited about going to UNM and CNM. Where are those jobs in the future going to be?
A lot of those jobs are in, well, there are jobs across the spectrum in STEM, but there are a lot of high demand STEM. Certainly certain engineering fields, nuclear engineering has high demand. the more kind of the computer end, the computer programming, those are certainly high demand fields at this time, although there's kind of varying degrees of demand depending on what level of education and how that applies.
So we've heard about the computer. How about the jobs about preventing hacking? What about espionage? What about all kind of the riveting, exciting kind of jobs out there? The new type of jobs. I mean, stopping those hackers.
Correct. Those jobs are certainly out there, and they're in the private sector as well as the government sector.
As well as the military is looking
Correct.
at that.
And so cybersecurity actually is a subset of the entire computer science field. So that's a portion of it. And UNM actually has a few programs related to that as far as when it comes to cybersecurity and national security. So
At CNM, what types of jobs are you suggesting that your students look at for the future?
So the project that STEM Up is very focused on earning an associate's degree. What students that attend CNM sometimes fail to realize is that there are plenty of STEM positions that are open with an associate's degree.
Give me some examples.
Well, some examples would be into the technology fields, the computer technology. They're into the health fields.
Give me an example in the health field. What could a person with a 2-year degree in STEM do?
Well, for example, just in nutrition, they are the individuals who work with the government formats that helps to recognize the menus, and they work with individuals that have a 4-year nutritionist degree, and so they are in support positions, but there are positions there. There's lots of
Give me. We talked about the cyber, kind of the new areas that I might not have heard of. I've heard of the computer sciences. I've heard of nutrition. Anything out there new?
right, so energy is another
okay.
growing field,
sustainability.
and sustainability when it comes to STEM. But it's not just the specific alignment of major to actual career. It's what happens in when students actually get a STEM degree. It sort of implements in them sort of a level of problem solving and critical thinking that I think is applicable to a good number of fields, even if they're not specifically in STEM. And that's what we sort of try and tell our students, that yes, this STEM degree will help you be successful within the STEM field, but it's also applicable outside the field as well.
So we're actually trying to educate them for jobs that no one knows about yet.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Technology is moving so fast. STEM is moving so fast. They need those critical thinking skills. They need those skills so they're prepared to apply them to fields that we haven't heard about yet.
We can't even imagine.
No, we can't.
Except I think Tim, who's working outside UNM.
Oh, no, I'm still within
at
UNM.
UNM,
So we're
but
all at UNM.
Yes.
We
but
just are
working
reaching
out
in different areas.
nationwide. What are some maybe jobs that we can't even imagine? Give me something on the top of your head that we can't even imagine.
Well, I would certainly say the sustainability piece is new. You know, areas where the technology is evolving so rapidly, especially in the computer software industry, where you have Amazon, you have Google, you have different players that are changing the face of technology every day. And so those are areas. I think all of us focus on primarily serving Hispanic and low-income students from that perspective as well. So not only do we serve the general population of students, but we're really looking at trying to find a way for students who come in with aspirations of getting a STEM degree, and those are really varied. Students can come in wanting to be a doctor, or maybe they want to be an engineer, but they don't know what kind of an engineer, or maybe they want to be a computer programmer, but they don't know kind of what the application of that is going to be. And what we find is that nationwide and at UNM, students traditionally underrepresented in STEM, really there's an achievement gap at the university level. So how do we create a system that is more inclusive in terms of the way that we educate students, so we close that achievement gap? So a lot of what we do is focused on when the student comes in and they have this dream, how do we keep them there? How do we get them to fulfill their dream, set the system in place so that they'll be successful and so that they won't be intimidated by a system that wasn't really evolved for them in the first place and walk away when they certainly have the potential to make it all the way through.
And how are you doing that, Tim? How is UNM doing that?
There are a lot of different programs on campus. Some of them are very small programs that are focused on a subset of students, where students come in and it's a cohort. They join and then they're with the same support staff and faculty all the way through, 2 years, 4 years, all the way. And that includes mentoring. It might include undergraduate research. So we have a lot of programs across campus, and some of them are like that. Some others are like the STEM Collaborative Center, which is more of a broad approach, where we have a lot of different events that engage students who might not otherwise be engaged during their first 2 years. So one of the things we know at STEM, UNM and STEM, is that 77% of the students that drop out based on their interest in STEM do so within the first 2 years. So it's before they're engaged with their upper division professors and research. So what we're trying to do, at least in our center, is focus on activities that can keep them engaged through those first 2 years. Undergraduate research, going to field research sites, figuring out how to get published.
This is for freshmen and sophomores.
Correct.
Wow, how exciting.
Yeah.
I understand you have the STEM summer program, Discovery Series, innovative projects that they do.
Correct.
Again, this is at your freshman and sophomore year.
Yes.
To keep them engaged.
Yes, and our program is out of the classroom. So these are low impact, low threat, right? There's no grade attached to these. So students can kind of take these and kind of experiment with different areas and become really engaged.
Are there extra charges for these programs?
No, they're all absolutely free. And our program is funded by the Department of Education Hispanic Serving Institutions program. So the program is free to students, and we do our best to get the word out to students and have them come in. So what they'll do in our program is really outside of the classroom. And then what Natalie is doing is working with students that are in those classrooms.
What's interesting, the free, and I wanted to put a plug in for Joshua Corbin, who is a guest on the program. He's with the Office of Diversity Pipeline Program, and there are a lot of other programs within that, and he works with the Collaborative Center. But we failed to say all those programs were free as well. So these additional things, students, they pay for their credit hours, but actually the lottery scholarship, legislative lottery scholarship pays for a lot of that. They might pay for their books, but these additional programs are free to keep them in the classroom. So that is a program to look at what their needs are to make sure. And your program, Natalie, is to do what?
So I actually work inside the classroom with the faculty and students. So we work with the faculty as far as when it comes to course redesign to ensure that their objectives, the content and assessment line up, as well as providing the content that will help them be successful in future coursework. So they learn all the base knowledge, because we talked about that scaffolding of knowledge. They really need to make sure that they have certain skills and understanding of the knowledge in that particular subject before they can move on.
Well, is this more than tutoring?
It is. It's definitely more than tutoring. So we're revamping the classroom and what happens with the instructor. And then we also provide support inside the classroom. So no longer is it someone standing up in front of the classroom lecturing, but we have a good number of faculty that are moving towards active learning. They're actually sort of having more of collaboration with inside the classroom and students learning from each other, being the facilitators of knowledge. And so there's a lot more sharing going on, and that's led by students that have already taken the class and been successful in it, called peer learning facilitators, which is a resource to faculty as well, which is another thing that our program is involved in. And a third service that we have for students is called EASE Workshops, where we actually provide some—
It's called what?
EASE Workshop, essential academic and skills.
We like that.
Yeah, we do. Where it provides sort of outside workshops for students to get the skills necessary in class. So they'll learn Excel outside, critical reading, library research, all those things they need to be successful in class, but they can't necessarily get within the classroom.
How is the classroom looking these days, Carol? Or Natalie, how is it look? I mean, you're saying it's not the professor standing up there any longer with the pointer
and
or
it
the
really
blackboard?
varies depending on the field of what's being taught and what's the best way to teach that subject, as well as the instructor. So there's a lot of differentiation where we're trying to move the entire faculty towards more of the active learning, because it's been shown to be successful with underrepresented students, as we talked about earlier, and the rise that we're seeing in the university of underrepresented students to ensure that that population, as well as all students, sort of have that understanding of the actual concepts, as well as how it works in the real world, where it's not necessarily you working by yourself, but learning how to work with other people as well.
Great. Dr. Guerre, what would you like to share about your program and the collaboration between UNM and CNM and getting these kids to grad?
UNM already has a great foundation for cooperation. Some of the things that were challenges for students was recognizing the courses to take at CNM that would be immediately transferable to UNM, that would give them momentum and the correct prerequisites to move towards a completion of a 4-year degree in STEM once they got to UNM. So that is one area where we've put lots of energy into it, bringing together department heads, registrars, faculty, just to have them in the same room communicating about the coursework that they would like to see students taking across the board. So alignment of curriculum. And then the other pieces is similar to what Natalie was speaking about with the peer mentors. We also have peer mentors, and we call them CELs, Student Education Leaders. And they're typically transfer students who are transferred to UNM, and they are now supporting CNM students who are now trying to make that transition themselves. And so we're hoping to build a community of learners that, you know, spans the 4 blocks between CNM and UNM and makes that space very small for them to feel very comfortable about coming onto the UNM campus and making that transition.
How successful are we finding your program?
Well, what we've found is that we've increased the number of STEM degrees that are actually earned at CNM.
Wow.
What has actually helped a lot is CNM now offers several new fields for students to go into. They've added chemistry and math and nutrition, and in the past 3 years that the grant has been in place. The grant is now in its last year. It is funded as the Collaborative and Gateway were all funded by the Department of Education, and they're really institutional grants of helping the institution find ways to support Hispanic and low-income students. And so it's really, the funding is going towards trying out things that the institution may not have been able to fund, but we can fund some ideas and see if they are successful, and if they are, then
Continue
great.
with them.
And
Yeah,
Tim, go ahead.
and part of our grant sort of does that data prioritization, look and see what really is helpful for students. So one of the things that STEM Gateway actually found is that students need to be not only successful in those beginning Gateway courses, so those courses they take in the beginning of their STEM degree, but they need to basically get A's in them if they want to increase the probability of them actually graduating with a STEM degree, because it comes back to that scaffolding of knowledge. You need that base knowledge very strong if you want to start building on those upper division courses on top of those. And so that's sort of the research that's been done through the Gateway to better understand what students need.
So pretty serious those first years, getting
yes.
A's. You said getting the A's.
Especially in the Gateway courses, and you know, Tim was helpful in sort of that project, but it goes to that level, yeah.
But I think we've all heard that at UNM, our graduates here in New Mexico, once they go to UNM, they also need those kind of prerequisite programs that, or not prerequisite, but classes that they should have successfully had in high school.
Right.
But we need those as well.
So
That helped.
No.
I know we're all like ready.
Because that's an important point that you bring up. And it's not necessarily the classes that they need to have had before they got here.
The knowledge.
It's the skill set and being able to transfer that skill set now into standardized test, into the actual coursework that they're being asked to do. And so it's...
But really the STEM kids, what I'm learning from you is that they need to be really prepared to get into those Gateway classes and do well if they
Right,
want to continue
because
to get their degree. So how do we get them into the Gateway classes to do well? We need some help perhaps beforehand.
And I think that varies a lot from student to student. So if a student is coming from a small rural high school that may not have a very advanced math program or may not have the resources for more than one biology class, then they may come in with kind of a little bit of a further road in particular areas. And the most important thing for them to understand is that that isn't a detriment. That's just a little bit of extra distance, but they can get there. They can get there through UNM. They can get there through CNM. It's just a matter of knowing what the roadmap looks like. So talking to an advisor and saying, okay, so maybe I didn't get enough math here. What math classes do I need to take? When do I need to take them? And then for a lot of students, especially in math can become one of those areas where there's anxiety attached to that. People are a little bit afraid of math. And math is not something that you can do or can't do. There's no one that can't do math. right? It's really a question of how comfortable are you with math and how comfortable are you getting help when you hit a roadblock. So
how comfortable are you getting help? And that's where
correct.
your centers come in.
Correct. And what we really encourage students to do is to come to us. You know, there are others on campus. There are a lot of STEM support programs on campus. Find someone who can help you find the roadmap through, someone that you're very comfortable with, and then that roadmap isn't as far as it seems.
Very well put. Would you like to share anything about that?
No, I actually really appreciate the way that you've stated that it's basically just finding your path. And that's what we focus upon. Perhaps your path starts at the 2-year institution. That is fine, as long as the curriculum is lined up and we're taking the right courses, great. If that's the pathway, great. If it starts at UNM, there are so many resources at UNM. You just need to find a place where they're comfortable asking for help and where they receive that support that makes it part of who they are, and they just kind of.
And you know, a big thing, if they come in wanting to have that STEM degree, realize that, you know, if they stay motivated and on track, they can achieve it. They belong there. They can do it if they just stay motivated and sort of get the resources that are available. We have tons of resources on campus for students. Just reach out. We're here for them.
One of the really interesting things for students, especially that are coming out of high school, where those additional academic resources may be considered rudimentary. You know, like that's not where the smart students go. You know, that's not the case in the university level. You know, tutoring is used by smart students. It's used by the students who are wanting to take advantage of every resource they have to succeed. And so. You know, when I was an undergrad.
That's new. That's new.
Yeah, when I was undergrad, I really struggled with French. That was my stumbling block was foreign language, and so I needed a lot of additional assistance there. Most students will have at least one area where they're really going to struggle. The key is, are they going to get help, or are they just going to try to do it on their own? And in colleges and universities across the country, it's important to go get help because everybody's going to need it.
And I tell my students that all the time. You know, this was set up for you to reach out to faculty members, to the tutoring centers, to build study groups, to really sort of build this knowledge with other people. The system wasn't set up for you to sort of go through it alone, and a lot of times students want to try and go through it alone, and that is sort of a recipe that sort of makes a very hard road for them. So if they want to be able to get through their degree and have it be as seamless as possible, understand that they need to reach out to other people for help.
I think you gave me, Natalie, the 77% of the kids, the students in STEM who dropped out. What was the reason for dropping out?
Well, it's actually the teaching in the classroom is a big reason why students switch out of STEM, and that's sort of where we help work with them to be able to sort of connect with their faculty by having faculty change the techniques utilized in the classroom. But again, it's still reaching out to your faculty members. They are there, they want to help. I know sometimes it becomes that fear factor of this huge distance of knowledge between what they know and what the faculty member knows, and they have a fear of asking for help, but they are there to help them.
I think what you said, that the kids, if they want to graduate, they can, because the resources are, and I saw online, I got a whole list of all these various programs, the collaborative programs that I mean, there are a lot to hit, and small niches from study groups to talking to your professor to the other students helping. There's a lot.
And there, you know, there are a lot of reasons why students drop out of UNM. And sometimes it's family reasons. Sometimes there are things that come up that simply prohibit them from staying in the university. And in some cases we can help with that. Some cases that's beyond our ability to help. But there are a lot of students who leave simply because they feel like they don't belong, that this maybe is not the path, that they chose the wrong path. And if they really did choose the wrong path, that's okay. But what we want to make sure is that they're getting all the support they need to get down that path.
To be comfortable on the path.
Correct,
That's
because
what-
there are a lot of students.
That's what I
who
learned
leave-
from you.
Yeah,
They have
there
to
are a
feel
lot of
comfortable.
students who leave simply because they don't know those resources are there. And so if they come and visit with us and find those resources, their odds of getting through I mean, some of these fields are not easy to get through. They're very rigorous, and there's a lot of memorization, and they're very complex, and they're very hierarchical, where you have to build on those skills, as Natalie was saying. So that can be, that really is a long process for students. And so it's important for students not to give up, but to come and find that help early
Very
on.
good. Very well put.
Also, if they don't have that support in their family, for example, if their parents did not go to college, where would they know, I mean, and if their parents are their mentors, then it's important for them to have additional resources on campus that can give them the more practical and real processes that they should be taking. And it's really hard for someone who's never been to college to tell their student exactly, well, go do this, go do that. And
They don't know. So how do they reach you, Dr. Carolina Aguirre?
Well, we have several centers. We have one on the CNM main campus, which is in the Student Support Services building. We also have a center on the South Campus, which is right across from the pit, on the UNM campus. And then on the UNM campus as well, we have an additional resource area that is at 1716 Las Lomas, and it is on the main campus right behind Dane Smith Hall, where all of the classrooms are.
Very convenient. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time
Thank
out of your
you.
day to be here and all you're doing to make sure that our kids graduate.
Thanks so much.
What would you like to share? Again, Natalie Robinson Bruner, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Problem. I would just say to students, look out for our peer learning facilitator courses. We bring these undergraduates right into the classroom to help them with a new way of learning the information. They're there for them as tutors. They provide that sense of belonging by providing connection to the university with a demographic that looks like the students that's actually in the classroom.
And how can they contact these folks?
The best way would probably be through our website, stemgateway.unm.edu, and we have a list of all of our peer learning facilitator classrooms up there.
And Tim Schroeder, the director of the UNM STEM Collaborative Center. What would you like to share in our final minute?
I would just say, if you don't know, ask. Just charge right ahead. Don't be afraid of any opportunity. So if you see something that you want to do, find out how to do it and do it. And for students that are looking to reach us, they'll see a lot of those opportunities on our website. They'll also see our contact information. It's stem.unm.edu. We encourage students to stop by and talk to us.
And I think what they will find, what I've learned from all of you fine folks today, is that they're not alone.
No, that's absolutely correct.
They're not alone. And the quicker the help is out there, the sooner they get it, the more successful they'll be, the more comfortable they'll be. And perhaps they can help another student.
Yes.
with that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you so much for taking the time. And thanks for KCHF for bringing you this program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to New Mexicans by State Employees Credit Union, which has proudly been serving the families in New Mexico locally and abroad since 1958. State Employees Credit Union is ready to help you and your family with all your financial goals and is the exclusive sponsor of Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater in order to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a DVD copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.